Hey everybody, welcome back to the flight deck. We're going to take another look at the Salty 747 mod, in particular the fueling aspect, something I didn't touch on the last video because I wasn't quite 100% sure how it worked. But I now have some more information and I'm going to quickly go over how the fueling system works. You can't leave it going on its own for the whole flight. There is some monitoring that you do have to do. So let's hop on board the aircraft and we can take a look. Alright, we're on board the airplane. We're at 31,000 feet and we're cruising at Mach 8.5. Now if we look down at our tanks below, we can see that we have fuel in all of our tanks. But if we look at where the fuel is being drawn from, all the fuel is being drawn off the center fuel tank. And what is happening is our stab tank here, the horizontal stabilizer tank, is slowly pushing fuel forward into the center tank, and the center tank is now feeding out all four engines. So what this looks like on the overhead is all the fuel pumps are on for everything and all the cross feeds are currently open. And the fuel is being pushed from this tank here up into the center tank. It is then being pushed out along this way into the cross feed, through the cross feeds, and into the four engines. Once the stab tank is finished pushing all of its fuel into the center tank, what we're going to do is we are going to shut off the pumps for that tank, and I will show you that in a second. Alright, so looking down right now, we can see that the stab tank is empty and it's showing that no fuel is being pumped to the center tank. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the overhead and we're going to turn off the pumps for the stab tank. There's no point in having them running. So you can see the pumps are now turned off, stab tank is empty. So right now the airplane is flying along, drawing all the fuel out of the center tank, and it is feeding all four engines. So we'll take a look at what happens when the center tank gets low. Alright, so we can see now the center tank is empty and the pumps are running, but there's no fuel being pushed out. And we get the warning here on the ICAS here: low fuel center right, low fuel center left. That's because those two pumps have no fuel flowing to them, as we can see, and it reads 0. So what we now have to do is go up and turn off those center pumps. And these are the two right here, so we will shut those off. And if we go back down and take a look at our fuel, we can see the fuel is now coming off of the main 2 and main 3 tanks. And main 2 tank is coming up and feeding engines 1 and 2. Main 3 is coming up and feeding engines 3 and 4. Now what this will happen is this will keep doing this, but we will get a message when this level is approximately the same as this level here. And when we get that balanced, we'll get another message on our ICAS that tells us we have to make another step here. So let's get in position and we'll wait for that message to pop up. Alright, you can see we now have another warning has come up: fuel tank engines. And if we look down, we can see that our amounts are almost identical across all four tanks. So now what we have to do is come up to the overhead fuel tanks. We're going to turn off the outer pumps here, the what's called the OVRD pumps here and here. And then after we do that, we're going to shut off the cross feeds for between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And what this will do, this will allow each engine to draw off its own tank. So engine 1 will draw off main 1, engine 2 will draw off main 2, 3 off 3, 4 off 4. So let's turn those off. Cross feeds off. Cross feeds off. So now if we look down, we can see all four engines are drawing off their own main tanks. Now you've got reserve tanks here for both sides, for engine 1 and engine 4. Those reserves will pump on their own and fill up the main tank, so you don't have to worry about doing anything with that. And that is how you do fuel management on the 747 with the Salty Sim. You can go long distances, but you can't leave the fuel system sitting. There is a little bit of manual work that has to be done on it. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.